I know how to drink and drive, honey.
And welcome to the Mind Your Movies podcast. I'm Ryan,
I'm Shane.
and today we are not drinking and driving. That's a
No,
bad thing,
we're sitting and talking about a movie.
which is One Battle After Another, the brand new Paul Thomas Anderson movie that just came out this week.
Yep, we literally just saw it. We just got back maybe an hour ago, or we just got out of the theater maybe an hour ago, and we're going to talk about it. We were lucky enough, well, just so everyone knows, we're going to talk about it with no spoilers for a little bit, talk about our general thoughts about the movie, and then we'll get into a full spoiler discussion toward the end. But yeah, we were lucky enough to see it projected in Vista Vision. We saw it at the Coolidge Corner Theater in Brookline, Mass, right outside Boston. And yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. And yeah, should we talk about that first, maybe?
Yeah, why not? Right? I actually didn't know this until I looked it up. It's only the second film shot in Vista Vision in the 21st century, and
Yeah,
so
since the 80s.
yeah, you were saying it was used before and not so much anymore. And there's only like four theaters we saw in the U.S. that are playing this movie in Vista Vision. So we had planned to see this originally, but then you actually Shane saw that it was gonna be in Vista Vision at the Coolidge, so we were like, well,
Yeah.
we might as well do
I
that.
I think originally it was just New York and LA and maybe like London, but they added it, like the Coolidge added it kind of last minute. I think originally it was supposed to be a 70 millimeter screening and they switched it to VistaVision. So that was really cool. We got to see it in the 1.5 by 1 aspect ratio. It looked fantastic. There wasn't really much wear and tear on the film because it was, I mean, this is Saturday at noon we saw it. So it only been screened a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be more than, three times before this. Maybe
Probably, yeah.
Thursday night or a couple times Friday or whatever. But
Yeah,
um yeah. So we're
that's
just
pretty
getting out
sweet.
of that experience and definitely seeing it. Obviously, I mean, seeing things on film is always neat, right? It's very, very cool. And just being able to see it in the way that it was actually like made is always awesome, right? Like
Yeah.
seeing Nolan's stuff in like IMAX 70 millimeter is cool because that's how he films it, right? So
Yeah.
seeing this in VistaVision was neat.
Yeah, it was very cool. Definitely a unique experience. But also, I think if you're out there and you're like, oh, I don't live in Boston or New York or LA, you'll be fine seeing it digitally projected. If you see it in IMAX or if you see it, in just a regular widescreen format, I think you'll still enjoy the movie. Like it's a pretty epic movie. It's really well shot. The cinematography is really gorgeous and the sound is pretty great. So if you can just see it in the theater with good you know, image and sound, which is kind of what you want for every movie, you'll be fine. You don't need to see it in like some special format. I don't think. I think you'll still enjoy the movie and get as much out of it if you just see it at a normal theater in a normal screening.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think being able to see it in the format it's made is neat, but not necessary, right?
Yeah,
I mean, especially when you're talking like the IMAX and everything that's getting pretty close to that same format, right? Like, you might as well just see it the best way that you can easily, right? Like, don't drive an hour to see this, or like an hour is I guess not that bad, but don't drive like states away to go see this in
yeah,
this division. Also, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if you really can, right? Like it might be sold out.
yeah. True. It could be sold out. Could have to. Some people probably not in their country or in there. They have to fly somewhere. That would be absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, it's kind of a cool gimmick. I guess it does feel like a little bit I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe that's harsh to say that it's a gimmick, but it was cool. It looked great and it sounded great.
yeah,
Obviously, we have only seen it this way, so we can't really compare it. But I imagine that if I had seen this at my local IMAX, I would have enjoyed it the same amount.
yeah.
But yeah, so it was cool that we got to see it that way.
Yes, and it is cool. Again, just seeing things on film, you end up with those like the artifacts that you get from like
Mhm.
the film burns and film grain and all this stuff.
Yeah, and the markings in the corner
Yeah,
when they're changing reels and stuff.
right. And those experiences I think are always just neat. It kind of reminds us of like the tactileness of film, and I think that's for me that's really exciting. So it is cool to see it in film if you can, and they do have 70 millimeter showings all around, maybe, or
I think it's a lot more accessible
yeah,
than the Vista Vision for sure.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, this is so things have been shot in Vista Vision like through the 80s, and then it was kind of brought back with this and the Brutalist. But nothing has been shown in Vista Vision, I think, since 1961, which was One Eyed Jacks, which is the one movie that Marlon Brando directed. So just kind of cool that it's they're bringing it back, and it's a way to get people into the theater and get people out. I think a lot of movies. And IMAX is really good at making movies feel like an event and feeling like something that, oh, you got to get out in the theater to see it this way. So that's cool. It's, bringing people out to the theatrical experience, making it unique and memorable. So I appreciate it for that.
Yeah, I think like one good thing about this too is that I would assume that the theaters that have this, like the Coolidge Corner Theater, for example, is a cool old indie theater, right? It
Mm.
was built in like 1933, and it's still showing a lot of great stuff, and it shows a lot of stuff that's not necessarily on the mainstream all the time. And being able to go to places like indie theaters and support them in that way is really cool. So like instead of just going to your, like there's an AMC right here that I go to quite frequently. Instead of going to that, it is nice to go to the indie theaters when I can and when they do cool stuff like this, right?
Yeah. And like the Coolidge and a lot of other independent theaters will do like cool repertory screenings that wouldn't often be at big chains. So, like, for example, for Halloween is coming up and they have a bunch of horror movies that
Right.
they're showing through October and stuff. So, if you're out there and you have an independent theater somewhere around you, it's worth at least check it out, see what it's like. It can be a cool unique experience as compared to sort of the homogenous experience of like an AMC or if
Regal.
Regal.
Yeah.
We have showcase cinemas around. I think that's mostly in the Northeast, but the big chains.
the
But
the one thing about indie theaters, I, man, I want more theaters to jump on the recliner game.
that's
This is so
true.
good.
But
Recliners are
if
nice.
if they had a client, first of all, I wouldn't make it the theater, the like main movie house at the Coolidge is like this old
Yeah,
classic design. Like I guess you said it was built in the 30s. I thought it
yeah,
was maybe the 20s. It feels like 20s. I guess it's not like Art Deco though.
yeah. They say that I mean, on their logos and stuff, it says since 1933.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, I
it might
believe
have
it.
been built and like maybe it was doing like theater stuff,
Well,
but
I believe it, and it could just be that it has 20s influence into the 30s. That would make
yeah,
sense. And I just assume 20s because the 20s was the Roaring 20s, so they were building things, and then the
yeah,
30s was the Depression, so they weren't. But that's obviously not the reality of every single individual place. But but yeah, it's just a cool like old school theater. It looks very classy, and it's kind of just a cool thing to experience if you've never been there. I feel like
yeah,
it
definitely.
feels like a classed up thing. But if you had recliners in there, I feel like it wouldn't make any sense. It
Yeah,
wouldn't fit the
it'd be
vibe,
so weird.
and also you'd have like probably 10% as many seats. Like
Yeah,
you'd have so much less, and they probably need to sell as many tickets as they can.
that is true. I don't actually mind places like the Coolidge not having
Yeah,
them, but it is.
the
Uh,
recliners are nice.
I feel like I've gotten so used to them.
Yeah, the recliners are nice, and like it doesn't have stadium seating really, so
Yeah,
so there are downsides, but I think that's why I think I would just encourage people, if you haven't done it,
yeah,
go give it a shot and see if you like, because it might be like, oh wow, this theater's awesome, and it's a lot better of an experience than just going to the multiplex, and so.
definitely. I mean,
But
there's
anyway,
and there's a ton in Boston. Like we're
oh
we're,
yeah,
we're near the Boston area and Providence area, so like
yeah,
there's a ton in this area for us, and I think
a lot of cities have at least one.
yeah, and so I think if you're near a city, you might be able to find some. I think usually maybe in like suburbs it might be a little bit harder,
Yeah,
but make it a day, right? Go out, go to
yeah,
the city, do something, go to the theater, see a cool thing at an indie place.
yes. All right, we should talk
Movie
about the
time.
movie.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about without spoilers. I think the basic idea is Leonardo DiCaprio is the main character. He is sort of a revolutionary. He's in this revolutionary group that's he's making bombs and stuff. And it's a really cool opening. It's a really extended opening sequence. And then there's a time jump, and it really is him with his daughter, and a bunch of characters of the revolutionary group and their people associated with them, and sort of the uh, fascist military groups that are opposing them. And it's based on a Thomas Pynchon book, so there's a lot of characters and there's a lot going on, people coming in and out. And I don't want to say
Yeah.
too much about the specifics of the plot, but it is kind of I don't know, it's like people are after him. People are on the run. People,
Yeah. It's
you,
very fast,
a,
kind of moving all the time.
a
Right.
lot of paranoia.
Yeah.
There's also a sequence that reminded me of like The Big Lebowski or Inherent Vice, which is PTA's other movie based on a Thomas Pynchon book, with a sort of drunken stoner sort of bumbling through situations and not being very competent at what he's supposed to be doing,
Yeah.
which is one of my favorite subgenres of movies. So I really enjoyed that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We were talking, I mean, in a way, Caught Stealing is
mm,
about a very real character caught in this bad chain of events.
yeah,
And he's kind of a washed up, he's in that, he's a big drinker, right? Not to get too
yeah,
much into that movie. But and in this, yeah, like when we after that time jump, Leo's character is like definitely he's into drugs, right?
yeah.
He's coping,
But he's
obviously.
older is
Yeah.
kind of the a big difference. I feel like that,
Yeah.
which kind of matches with the Big Lebowski. Actually, in Big
Yeah,
Lebowski,
true.
the dude is also a washed up sort of former, radical, political activist. I
Yeah.
guess in Lebowski they kind of make it seem like the dude is probably a non-violent type. That's how he comes off. But obviously, this revolutionary group is like more, well, yeah, certainly more violent. It's like very pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, like he's helping build bombs and things, right,
yeah.
for them in the very beginning. So, um, and he's paranoid at this,
Oh yeah,
in the later part of this movie, or most of the movie, right, when he's after that time jump, he's paranoid and he's trying to keep his daughter safe,
yeah,
and that's kind of where things take off, and
yeah.
I don't think we want to go anywhere past that right
No,
now,
no, definitely not.
um, but just focusing on those things, it's a really interesting plot. I went in with no information really, and I was pretty surprised and excited about the plot, like right from the beginning. That long opening sequence, introducing us to what's happening.
It's not. It's almost like a whole act. It's like
Yeah,
it's pretty long before the time jump. It
yeah,
feels like that could be its own movie if you extended it and stuff like that.
definitely. Yeah. In another world, this could have been like part one and part two
Yeah,
in the post time jump, but um, yeah, and so that whole period is really interesting, and I was surprised by how some of the characters acted there, and I think all the characters feel like really real in this movie in a way. I mean, it's a very funny movie too. Like there's a lot of goofy, weird
yeah.
stuff.
There's a lot of we'll get into some of those details
Yeah.
and spoilers, but the tone is kind of weird. Where I don't know. There is a lot of comedy, and it's a
Right.
very enjoyable ride. If you are expecting, oh my gosh, this is like a 3 hour epic, it's going to be tough to sit through. I think it's pretty enjoyable ride.
Yeah.
And it is obviously there are more dramatic elements and stuff like that, but also there's a lot of comedy and a lot of, especially in the middle
Yeah.
section. I feel like there's a lot of comedy and enjoyable moments, laugh out loud moments.
Yeah, I mean our theater was packed, and there
Yeah,
was a lot of times where the whole crowd was laughing.
yeah,
Um, and so I think those well, I think, despite the comedy and goofiness at times, I think the characters still felt really real, which was cool. And it felt like, it introduces you to this cause that they're fighting for. And so that whole opening sequence was just really neat and
mhm,
obviously well done too.
yeah. And I will say, like, maybe based on my vague description, it sounds like this is like, so Inherent Vice is quite a confusing movie, and it's based on the Pynchon book, and like it's kind of hard to figure out what's going on, and that's kind of part of the point. You're like with this main character who doesn't know what's going on. But in this one, I think the plot and everything is a lot more straightforward and easy to understand. I think you kind of know who people are, where they stand, what they're doing. Like every scene, you understand people's goals and what they're trying to do for the most part. It's just that there's a lot of moving parts,
Yeah.
but it's pretty clear and relatively straightforward storytelling. I feel like it's so if there are people out there who are like, I hated Inherent Vice, this is a red flag to me. I think this is a lot more approachable to just a broader audience because most people want their movies to make sense, which is fair. I don't blame. I don't blame.
Yeah, I think it definitely. I think even at the end, like one of the first things I said about the movie when we got in the car was that was a pretty straightforward plot. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot going on, there's a lot of characters, and obviously 3 hours worth of stuff.
yeah,
But I don't think I didn't leave. I don't think I'm confused about anything that happened. I think I
yeah,
pretty much understand it, right? I mean,
yeah.
um, and there's some messaging that goes on in the plot. I mean, it's definitely taking a stance with the revolutionaries, obviously, right? And so they're fighting for like uh, specific stuff that's pretty relevant today too.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I think the first shot of the movie is uh
Yeah,
Tiana Taylor sort of walking past a detention center for migrants in this. It kind of feels like an alternate version of America or something. I don't know. It's kind of,
yeah,
I guess it's set today, like post time jump is today, I guess.
right. It seems like it.
But the time period is a little vague, I guess.
Yeah, actually, it's vague enough too to the point where before the time jump happened, I was fully believing that we were in today, and
Yeah,
then the time jump happened, and I was like, oh, interesting. I didn't realize that we weren't today, right? Like,
yeah. Is
um,
it? I don't know if there are any cell phones. Although even then, 16 years ago would have been 2009. I guess some of the events might have been
wow,
like maybe oh 07, oh 08
yeah,
range. It seems to cover a little bit of a period
yeah,
of time, at least maybe a year or two, I guess. But we don't really see any cell phones, so there's no flip phones or any like early iPhones, anything like that. But yeah, it's I don't know where I was going with that.
well, yeah, no, but then because of
Oh,
also his paranoia, like today in the after time jump, he's also kind of like anti-technology to some extent, and so I think
yeah.
it does help a little bit. I mean, there
Or
are
he's just
aspects of technology, but I think it helps to keep it kind of less like more timely, right? Like it could kind of be any moment in time.
yes, and like cell phones, particularly because they're kind of living off the grid and trying to be anonymous, they don't like Leo's character doesn't have a cell phone at all. So yeah, it's kind of which I think is nice that we're kind of able to not worry about that. Everyone, although there are moments of people on their phone, and there's one in particular toward the end, but
Yeah.
I won't talk about it. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, a lot of really great performances as well.
Yeah, it was a really fun ride. Also, yeah, speaking of performances, obviously Leo and his daughter in this, who becomes kind of one of the other main characters,
Hmm.
is played by Chase Infinity, and I think this is maybe her debut. I don't know if she's been in another feature film.
I guess so. It looks like she's in like maybe some TV stuff before,
Okay.
but yeah, I think this is like her first
Yeah, and
major role, which
she did really, really great.
yeah, she was really good. I didn't know. I guess I'm not familiar with her. I saw her
Yeah,
name Chase Infinity, and it looks like Chase Infinity is her first and middle name,
interesting.
and her last name might be Payne, Payne. Because I was like, there's no way Infinity is her
Right.
her last name, but
Yeah.
yeah, she's really good. And then there's like a whole big cast of supporting characters. Sean Penn
Yeah.
is really great as basically the antagonist of the movie, and he's just gives a fantastic performance. Benicio was a real standout
Yeah.
for me. He's just awesome. And Regina Hall, Tiana Taylor, also Alana Haim from who is in Licorice Pizza, and she's a musician. She's in this, and Wood Harris is also in this, which is kind of cool. I kind of nice to see him. But yeah, really all great performances, and they really nail whatever tone of each scene. Like the acting is just really great.
Yeah, and it almost this movie itself has a pretty big range. Like every character has to have kind of that big range of being able to do that tone shift. Because this movie does have kind of a weird tone shift a lot.
I
It like
liked it.
well, it works, I think. Like I've really
Mhm.
enjoyed it. It's a fun ride, but in the there's a scene at the very kind of in before that time jump era that I'm not going to mention yet because I think I want people to experience that tone shift, but where the tone shift where that type
Yeah.
of tone shift happens, and it clearly took the theater off guard right at the beginning.
Mhm.
Um, and like every character has to be able to adapt to that, and every actor has to be able to, and they do so well here at being able to make that transition really quickly.
Yeah, and there were even some moments of like some people in the theater laughing when I was like I don't know that this is a funny moment, or like people almost awkwardly like chuckling at like weird scenes. Um, but yeah, this is like a movie with like a, a beautiful father daughter, well, beautiful kind of dysfunctional father daughter relationship, a bunch of broad, not broad, but sort of big political ideas and philosophical ideas. And also, there's a character named Jungle Pussy in the movie. So this is the vibe.
Yeah,
unique.
right. It's yeah. I don't think I've ever seen something as like outlandish at times. That's also so like I mean, in its core, it is like a revolutionary movie. There's a moment in the movie where Battle of Algiers is playing on TV, which is
Yeah,
kind of funny
it
and
is. I don't know. Yeah, I think the movie is. Yeah,
it's not
obviously
bad.
its sympathies are more toward the revolutionary group, but also it kind of maybe a lot through showing Leo in that majority of the movie as kind of this incompetent guy. Like it doesn't treat them as like perfectly, they're not heroic necessarily. It's a lot of messiness and they do things that are not great, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not
they're
without
very human.
spoiling anything. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think it's bias leans toward them, but also without like acting like they are too heroic,
right.
which
It's
I liked.
right. No one feels well. Yeah, whatever. Definitely.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So I don't know. I
Well,
think with and the actors are great. Yeah. Did you want to mention something else before we?
yeah, but maybe before we finish our spoiler section, one thing that bumped up with me a little bit in the movie, I think a lot of the music is really great and
Mhm.
really perfectly it's really well done and also fits each scene very well. But there are some moments, and this happens in like a bunch of PTA movies for me to varying degrees, but he likes his music a lot. And there are times where we have almost wall to wall music. I mean, the opening, like whatever it is, 30, 40 minutes maybe before the time jump, there's like, there might be music playing through the entire thing, which like it kind of works because it is this almost montage esque, like we're passing through time, we're seeing all these different events, so like it kind of works. But there were a couple moments where I was like, I don't know if the score is adding to the scene, and it felt like it was maybe a little bit unnecessary. That's also something that happens in some of his movies. Maybe that's just my personal preference. But there are really good scenes where he we have no background score and it works better for those, especially some like more dramatic scenes
Yeah.
here and there. But yeah, that was one thing where I was like, there's a lot of background music here, and sometimes I feel like it was unnecessary.
I would agree with that too. I think I definitely noticed that, and at times I was kind of like, okay,
Yeah, it was a bit much here and there. But overall, I think also like he's probably trying to keep the rhythm, keep the pace. Like this is a pretty relentlessly paced movie for something that's almost 3 hours long,
yeah,
and I think that he's trying to use the music to contribute to that. So it didn't ruin the movie or anything for me. It was just one little small criticism that I have, or not even a criticism, but something that maybe didn't work for me in every scene.
totally. Yeah, and that's I would definitely say I felt that too. I think um otherwise, I mean, I think a lot of the movie was just really well put together, of course, right? Like cinematography was great, all this stuff was great. Um I don't like and I think I left the movie feeling pretty satisfied.
Hmm.
The one thing that is, I think, that could be a little weird to people is like those tonal shifts might feel weird, especially at first, right?
Hmm.
Like there's those moments of like, are you supposed to be laughing or are you supposed to feel
Yeah.
something else right now, right?
Yeah, and there even within a scene there are moments where there is something outlandish or ridiculous that's said, but then it's also something extremely dark, almost back to back sent literally I'm thinking of a scene in particular I won't talk about where it is like that. It is extremely dark and then just ridiculous at the same time. And so yeah, it is a unique tone, but it kind of keeps you on your toes, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
And I another thing I really enjoyed about the movie is how much it's focused on character. Like
yeah.
with all these political themes, I feel like it could become like there is a danger of becoming um too much, like too focused on the ideas and like trying to preach a message rather than focusing on the characters. But I feel like the especially the father daughter relationship, and like there are scenes where big political like riots or
Yeah.
uh, action type of things are happening, but we're really focused on the characters. And I liked that we were able to. It's almost like we're with these characters going through this or around these type of situations, but we're never fully given a full context. It kind of reminded me of Civil War in some
Yeah.
ways, where we're with these characters and there's a broader political context, but the movie doesn't. I mean, this movie explains it a lot more than Civil War does. I think it's pretty like clear the ideologies, but not completely. Like we don't know a lot about like the political situation and like and all that stuff.
Yeah, with like I feel like Civil War, this and Eddington, you can kind of make like a scale of like
Yeah,
Eddington explores those a lot to the point where like the
I did not enjoy it
right,
that
like
aspect of it.
too much and like the character it didn't feel like the characters were as like um well like their connections weren't as well drawn out and everything. I don't know.
I
Yeah, we
I
ranted
think
a lot about Eddington.
yeah, not to be the guy who's constantly shitting on Eddington on the podcast, but I feel like in Eddington, and maybe I would disagree with myself on a second viewing, but I felt like the characters were not as interesting outside of their politics.
Right.
Whereas this is almost the opposite, where
Yes.
characters have certain politics, but the more interesting part is like the person within, and that is what the movie cares about more. And the politics are kind of on the surface, where and it gets into the details of the character. And I felt like Eddington did not necessarily do that. And on Civil War is not the most character,
Right.
like the characters aren't as much of the focus on that movie, but they're different. They're all different movies.
Right. Definitely. Um Yeah, I don't know. So should we jump? Maybe we can give our ratings and then jump into some spoilers.
Sure.
Mostly
Yeah.
just talk about some things we particularly liked, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And we can get into details on a lot of things. But yeah, I think overall this was really great. Again, we just saw it. It's a little hard to say like where do I put this in PTA's like filmography for me. I'm not sure. I probably need to see it again, but overall it was a really enjoyable ride. I think the run like for the runtime, it really flew by. It didn't feel
Yeah.
like a 3 hour long thing, even in slightly uncomfortable seats. Which they're not that uncomfortable, but also I'm tall, so I don't want to.
Right.
So I kind of have intentionally bad posture, which then makes it more uncomfortable for me because I
Yeah, for
don't
3 hours.
exactly. So I don't because I don't want to block. I don't want my head blocking off someone behind me's view. So anyway, uh, anyway, the movie was great. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars right now.
Okay.
It might be close to a 4.5. Maybe on a rewatch it'd be a 4.5 or something. I'm not sure, but I think 4 is probably fair for now,
Yeah. Cool.
or
I.
maybe 4.5. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what? I'm gonna give it 4.5. I changed my mind. 4.5.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
I
It's
mean,
pretty awesome.
hey, whatever. I agree. It's like hard to give our ratings. Literally, this is like usually I like to like sit on a movie for a
Yeah,
while. Sometimes if I do write my review right away, I'll like change it a little bit later, anyways. Um, I mean, it's tough, but I'm leaving it feeling really positive. I think there's some small stuff that I felt. I don't not even like small stuff. Just I don't know. I mean, for the most part, I really enjoyed it. It was a really great time. I have a hard time with 3 hour movies, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna give it 4.5. And
oh okay,
I'm like
nice.
even like maybe could I have given this 5? Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I'm just not as excited at the end as I feel like
Hmm,
I don't know. Not that every 5-star movie excites
interesting.
me at the end, but whatever. I don't know. I'm throwing out 4.5 for now. Um,
Nice.
but and our rating recap here is gonna be wild because this is
Yeah,
2 days after
universal acclaim.
this is only a couple days after it's come out. I feel like it's kind of become a meme online how like well received it is. Particularly the fact that it's like 35 out of 250 on Letterboxd top 250 list, which
Yeah,
is even for a new movie. Obviously, new movies they start out once everyone that
yeah.
wants to see it rushes to the theaters. It starts out really high, and then it kind of teeters down. But
I think even fucking Spider-Man No Way Home was on the Letterboxd top 250 at some point, which come on. What are we doing, people? What are we doing? This is way better than that.
yeah. And but I mean, even then, 35 is
Yeah,
insane.
that is
That
crazy.
is
That is crazy. It'll definitely even out and drop and probably
Yeah.
be a little more reasonable. But although we both give it 4.5, we're kind of contributing to keeping it at
Yeah.
really high up there, but that's okay.
Yeah. You know what? Just because of that, half us no. No, but and so I mean it's got just really universal acclaim right now. It's got a 4.5, sorry, a 4.4 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb, 96% critic score, and 86% audience score on Rotten
So
Tomatoes.
I will say, not to be that guy, I'm looking at Letterboxd right now. It's a 4.5
Whoa.
out of 5.
Okay.
So it might have literally just changed in the past
That's insane.
like 20 minutes or something, but yeah.
Wow. So that see, I mean, this is one other thing about why it's weird to do the rating recaps. This
Yeah, it's very fluid.
yeah, but we're still gonna tell you. So obviously it's getting good reviews everywhere, but it brings it to an average of 8.925. So 8.925. That's a really high average. That's almost a 9.0 average
Yeah,
right out of the gate.
right out of the gates.
Um that's
It's
insane. Out
pretty
of 10.
awesome.
Out of 10. Yeah.
Pretty awesome movie.
It is pretty awesome. I mean, and one of the things that really strikes me is like it's I mean, it is 2 hours and 50 minutes, I think. So it's almost 3 hours. It's not quite 3 hours, but it really doesn't feel like it. Like, I mean, the most feeling like that I had was because you know, I was sitting in a kind of uncomfortable, not really, but kind of uncomfortable seat, and I finished my popcorn too early, but
Yeah. I had to peep toward the end.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. But it's such a fun ride, and I feel like the tonal shifts, while they can be maybe off-putting at times for people, I feel like for me it really worked. Like I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
every time that awkward laughter was just enjoyable.
Yeah, and yeah, they're it's just pretty hilarious
Yeah.
in several scenes. There, well, we'll talk about it when we get spoilers. All
But
right.
yeah, it might be spoiler time. Yeah.
Yeah, time for spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie, which it just came out, so I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen it yet. Go out there, go check it out. It's awesome. It's worth seeing. And I feel like you could bring anyone to see it, to be honest. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
So time for spoilers. Here's your official warning. We are in spoiler territory.
Yes. So this is a good time if you still have
I,
not turned it off for some reason.
yeah, get out of here.
Pause it.
Scram.
Come back later. We will see you soon.
Yeah. Um, so one thing I think maybe we could talk about like the politics of the movie a little
Yeah.
bit, because I feel like maybe none of it bothered me at all. I do feel like you could interpret this as being maybe a little too sympathetic toward a radical extremist group that's like bombing various uh buildings, they're robbing banks, they uh kill someone, well, Tiana Taylor kills someone at one of the bank robberies. But I feel like because we go back in time and this group exists, and in real life this group does not exist, like this is some sort of alternate
Right.
reality version of America, like some sort of more dystopian version of America. It almost feels like, to me, I mean, this is not what the movie is, but it almost feels like the beginning is like 5 years from now or something like that. Like it's in the near future,
Yeah.
and then we jump even further in the future. That's almost how it feels.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting um notice, right? Like that the that kind of surrealism of it almost feeling like real life, but not
Yeah,
or like real America, but not quite.
yeah,
Puts it in this odd spot. But I do agree that like the politics there are interesting because once that time jump happens, there is still kind of a revolutionary group. It's just not quite the same. And it just so happens that he's like in the same town as Benicio del Toro, who is like kind of
they.
helping to run this like
I don't know that it just so
unravel.
happens,
Yeah,
but yeah, they've basically dispersed and they're in hiding.
yeah,
That's the key of it. But they have code
right.
speak, which is hilarious at certain points. But yeah, they're basically like dispersed, but if they get caught, they have uh
Hideout or
yeah.
safe house. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, they have
Protocol.
contingency
Right.
plans.
And so, but the part of this group that's around today in the movie, right after the time jump, seems to be much. I mean, like he runs like a shop and he runs a karate studio,
Oh yeah.
and and and
And he
they
seems to have, it's a little unclear what's going on but there seems to be some sort of a uh network of illegal immigration
Yeah.
network or get migration network going on.
Yeah, they call it the Underground Railroad, I think, at one
I
point.
guess so.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so but it seems more peaceful today. I mean, it seems like in after the time jump, yeah, I mean, he has one rifle and he like it's clearly an old rifle and he gives it to Leonardo DiCaprio's character. And so like it seems kind of like they're not robbing banks to make the money. They're not, blowing up places to get
Mm.
people, right? Like, or to save people, right there. It seems like maybe it's kind of an optimistic look at today, or
I
after that
didn't.
stuff.
That's interesting because I didn't really interpret it that way because I just interpreted it as they're dispersed and they're
Mm,
separate from each other. They have to live in secret now, and so they basically just have to lay low
yeah.
because otherwise they'll be murdered by the government, bro. Well, whatever, killed by the government. So I feel like it was more out of necessity than out of
Mm,
any type of a change in the philosophy of the group, which kind of makes sense. Like in this world, this is why it kind of I don't know. I guess it brings up questions of where do you draw the line? When is some sort of a violent resistance justified versus not? Like this seems to be a more extremely fascist
yeah.
version of America where they will, uh, kill political opponents and people will disappear, stuff like that. And so yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah.
which I don't know who knows if any of that could be happening now. It's possible.
I think one thing though is like before the time jump, one of the last things that happens before they split up, well, the last thing really like is they accidentally or they kill somebody during the bank robbery.
Hmm,
And it feels like such an impactful moment, right? The way it's shot, the way
yeah.
it's shown and everything. And obviously what happens afterwards, that it feels like they ever killed people before? Like it kind of feels like
That
maybe
felt
not.
yeah, that felt like the dam broke, like that felt like the first kill, but
Right.
who knows?
Which like obviously they're still using guns and threatening people and blowing stuff up, but like it feels like that is kind of a like oh shit, like this violence was bad, right? Like it actually led to something bad happening here.
Yeah.
And then yeah, they had to disperse out of necessity, but then maybe also like post that split up, they're still like okay, maybe we don't like we don't need to be holding people hostage in a
I
bank, right?
yeah, I guess. Yeah. It felt more like I think the movie's maybe showing them as like kind of uh incompetent and maybe their heads are in the clouds a little bit where they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna blow up all this stuff. We're gonna rob banks and no one's gonna get hurt. We're completely
Yeah.
righteous and we have the correct message. We're gonna free people. We're gonna and the reality is like if you are having doing those type of things, if you're robbing banks to fund your revolutionary group, like bad shit's gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
that's just the reality of it. And so I feel like yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see like a philosophical change. I kind of just saw they were caught. Well, basically, Tiana Taylor gets caught and
Yeah.
uh
Right.
rats out everyone, and so they have to go on the run, and that sort of dissolves the group.
Yeah.
Um,
And she gets caught right after they were running from the bank, right? I think that's
yes,
the
yeah,
yeah. And I think one thing that's interesting in this whole timeline too is that after the time jump, things are it seems like the military's even worse, right? Like it seems like it's almost
yeah,
more fashion. At least we didn't get as much background maybe,
right.
but it just kind of seemed like before the time jump it really did seem like this group was doing stuff, but there wasn't that much like
We
we didn't
see,
see a lot of the fascism that was happening maybe.
yeah, we see the detention centers, and they're like, there's also it's just a detention center like under a bridge, like
Right.
it's very out in the so it feels almost like more I don't know, more of a police state kind of a situation. It almost felt like Children of Men to some
Mm,
degree,
okay.
but like a lighter version, maybe not as dystopian. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I think the politics of the movie is a little like, um, I feel like it's actually not the most important part of the movie, and
Right.
maybe I'm also just not the right person to talk about that aspect of the movie. But like also the beginning is really horny in a weird way, where
Yeah. Yeah.
it is. It is. It's really and Tiana Taylor like there's weird horny stuff going on in the first like beginning of the movie, and like Sean Penn's character's attraction to Tiana Taylor. Like there is something that's like maybe it's just these two sides fighting each other, and sure there is the ideological aspect of it, and they feel like they're right, they want to help people, they feel righteous, but also maybe they just get a thrill out of it,
I
you
mean, it goes
know?
back to like what you're saying with them just feeling like young and like
Yeah.
they were just excited, right? Like there's one moment where like one of them's like shooting out of the car just because they
Yeah.
just finished this blowing up
And
something.
also the one thing about the movie, theoretically, Leonardo DiCaprio says he was born sometime in the 80s,
Yeah.
which means that at the beginning of the movie his character's supposed to be in his 20s, maybe?
Yeah.
And he's just like Leonardo DiCaprio's like 50 something, so
Yeah, he
he
just looks
looks
pretty
old.
old.
Yeah, but
Um
that's just a thing in the
his
movie.
20s were hard
It
for
didn't
him.
really bother me. Yeah, yeah, he lived a rough 20. That was a rough like 26 or whatever he's supposed to be. But I think there
Um
is that element of like people. I don't know, like it's just a thrill and like stuff
yeah.
like that.
Right, and so it kind of asks the question like is the are they doing this for the right reasons even, right?
Yeah,
Like or at least wholly, right? Like part of it probably, yeah. But then like also like yeah, the two of them like fuck on the car right after blowing up the tower that like puts out
yeah,
power in the whole city or something.
yeah, yeah. They
They're
do.
just so horny.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that does shut down the entire city. Yeah,
Like which also kind of insane that could that do you think that could really happen? Do you think you can blow up one tower and
I have no idea.
that sounds insane.
I have no idea how any of that works.
I hope
Maybe.
there's a better electrical grid than that. God
Maybe.
forbid, city.
I have no idea. Uh,
Anyways,
yeah.
yeah.
But
So like
also,
that air of like horniness and young excitability and all this stuff, like it does drive them to like think that they're immune to
mm,
repercussion, right?
yeah, I mean, when she's shooting the gun, she even says she feels like Tony Montana.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah,
so, and that is like Tony Montana wasn't, well, actually, I think he isn't part of the idea, well, at least in the De Palma one, that he like betrays it's like a Cuban communist to come to America or something like that. So he's not like a revolutionary figure. He's just a drug dealer, living large, living a crazy life.
right.
So maybe it speaks to them feeling like just badasses more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, like she clearly also like she makes the whatever his name lock
Lockjaw, I think.
lockjaw like get a boner at the
Well,
very
and
beginning
we
to
find out she did bang him. Also, she like pegs him with a gun,
yeah,
which is
that's
very interesting.
fucked up.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for interpretation here of certain things going on. I
Yeah.
think he was into it.
Oh yeah.
I think.
He
I don't
loved it.
know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he seems to still be infatuated with her the whole movie.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah, I mean this whole movie, this is another interesting thing, is that it's really like a battle of the nemesises, right? Like nemesis, whatever. But it's
but
like
does are you saying Leo and Sean Penn are the nemesis?
yeah,
But
right?
does Leo even know that Sean Penn exists?
Maybe it's like the
I don't
thing
think
of
he does.
I don't even know who you are.
No,
But like he's so infatuated with trying to kill this guy, or well, to get his daughter, really. But yeah,
yeah.
because
Well, it's it. We
there's the binocular scene early on when like Sean Penn's watching them like rob some
yeah.
people, and he's just like watching her butt, and then
Mhm.
he sees Leo grab her butt, and
Yeah.
he's like, oh,
Yeah, he's pissed.
yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, I it really only comes to a head like maybe I'm wrong. We just saw the movie.
yeah, no,
But like so basically there is a secret society of white supremacists
right,
that
oh,
run
I kind of yeah,
kind of seem to have like a lot of wealth and power in the world, and they want Sean Penn to be a part of the group, but they've heard a rumor from Jungle Pussy actually that Willa is actually his daughter, not Bob's daughter. Which is kind of confusing because I guess his name is he goes by Bob and she goes by Willa, but their real names are something else.
yes, they get
It's
these are the new like
Isn't it Charlene? And he's like, is he? I forget his name.
yeah, but they
They call him Ghetto Pat, right?
I think so. But yeah, because they get these new identities when they
Yeah.
all split up and everything, and that's really what we call them the whole movie, Bob and Willa.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, and that's what they've lived as for her
16
whole
years.
life. So yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, but yeah, so he kind of has to hunt them down to kill them in order to to do a DNA test and all this type of stuff. But yeah,
Yeah. It's the
is that the reason he like? tries to hunt them down in the first
I
place?
guess so. Yeah, he wants to.
Because they've just been living off the grid like in secrecy and no one's really bothered them for 16 years.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that changes, right?
Yeah, he hunts down the guy that gave everyone their new identities.
Yeah. Oh, right. He gets caught because right. So he rats them out actually. So it's kind of coincidental, I guess, because they catch him, who he's been seemingly doing this like secret revolutionary radio show,
Hmm.
and then he gets caught. He rats them out, and then they are gonna raid the town of I think Bacton Cross. I believe the origin or maybe like the production title for the movie was the Battle at Bacton Cross
Oh,
or something like that.
that's kind of cool.
Um. So
But
so
I think all
then
that.
they raid the city.
But I think they even catch him after this guy meets with the white supremacy overlord people,
Mhm.
and they're like, "Is there anything we should know?" And he's like, "No." And then he's like, "Okay, let me go make sure that this never comes out, right?
Yeah.
Make sure that I guess he's trying to do the paternity test, so he's like trying to make sure that it's not real, like that she's not his,
Yeah, he's kind of saying like if you're not my daughter, we'll just like
right?
we'll forget about this. It doesn't matter. We're, but if you are, then I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, or have you killed.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah, kind of. So I mean, I guess that it's all because of that, right? He wants to get into this society, the secret society thing,
right.
and so
But it kind of just happens to coincide with them sort of uncovering more details about the revolutionary group and where they're hiding because they catch the guy and he rats them out. Or
unless they only catch the guy because this guy was trying to get to was trying to get to them, right? So he was like, okay, we have to get this guy.
I don't think, but I don't think he had met like we hadn't been
Oh,
introduced
the
to the
time.
white supremacist people until after that.
Oh, after the radio guy. Oh,
Yeah, I think so.
you could be right.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'm wrong. Oh
I
man.
don't know.
Well,
I can't forget, but it doesn't really matter. I mean,
yeah,
um, the motives here seem less important even
yeah,
than like what's really happening, right?
yeah.
Um,
Also, crucial factor of this movie, which we haven't talked about yet. These are like white supremacist, powerful people, and they worship Santa Claus. They are,
Hail Saint Nick.
yeah. They say "Hail Saint Nick," and they're the Christmas Adventure Club. I
Yeah,
think it's called.
yeah. When they first said Christmas Adventure Club, I was like, wait, CAC. Wait, no. Okay, is this supposed to
That's
be?
what I was.
And no, it's just the yeah. It's
I
just
tried to do the same thing, and I was like, "CAC." I don't know what that means.
once they yeah. I thought it was like they were just talking in code, but then once they say Hail Saint Nick, I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, at first I thought they were saying "Hail Satan," and
Yeah,
then they said Saint Nick, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" But I get it's just funny. But that's the scene with the sharp change in tone where
yes.
there's this sort of the guy in charge is this really old guy. He looks like he's got one foot in the grave, and he really darkly says like, make it clean," and he's basically just saying, "Kill this kid." um, and these people are clearly extremely evil. And then maybe the next sentence they're like, "All right, sounds good. Hail Saint
Hail
Nick."
Saint Nick.
And it's just such a wild like change of tone, but it is so. Yeah, that whole group is very. I love how they're dressed like just like a guy at like a country, like he's wearing Lacoste and he has like
Yeah.
the watch on. He just looks like a like just like such a douche,
Yeah,
which
they
makes sense.
yeah. Yeah. That whole it's funny too because the secret society piece of this is such a small piece of the movie in terms of screen time. Except for I guess at the end when that guy actually comes out to try to hunt down
Right.
to clean
Well,
it up,
he's gonna,
right?
yeah.
Um,
We don't, yeah, he's gonna clean it all up
killing everyone.
by killing, including Sean Penn,
Yeah,
which we don't know until
right.
that happens.
Um, although no, I maybe I guess I kind of thought that that's what they meant. I thought the guy was like clean,
Make it clean, as in
I don't
kill
want,
him too.
yeah, I don't want any of this anymore.
Interesting.
Clean
I
it.
guess that's just not how I interpreted it, but
Yeah.
or I didn't realize that's what was going on. I thought it was like make it clean, so
Hmm.
then we can this guy can join.
Right, right. See, to me, I was like, they don't care about him anymore. They just want him dead.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think the it's interesting though that like there's such little screen time for them until that guy's hunting them down. But they're also like, it does kind of seem like maybe that's what sets the whole thing in motion, I guess. I mean, I kind of, again, I forget if they find the radio guy first or not, or if they meet this guy first, but like they're this secret society that in the movie it kind of posits that they have a lot of control over things, and it seems like that kind of is what it feels like in the movie too, because you barely ever see them, but it kind of feels like they're pulling some strings and making things happen,
Yeah. Yeah,
which
definitely.
is kind of interesting. But
Yeah. And I think just the costume design and the set design of everything. Like when we get I really liked when we were in, I guess, Bacton Cross and we see Benicio del Toro's house. And it's I don't know if it's like that's all his family or if there's family and he's also housing people who are like migrants on the run or something like that. Or uh I guess yeah, whatever. But just their house and all like the detail of when he tries to close the blinds and it
yeah,
just falls down. And it is like just seeing the way the white supremacist group is all so powerful and wealthy and they have all this and then the contrast of the revolutionary group living in poverty basically
yeah,
and yeah, it was just very well done. And their house, like their little shack house out in the middle of nowhere that they're living at was very I don't know, it's just it reveals a lot about each character, like how they're living, what their living situation is and all that. And they don't have to explain that much to you. You kind of get it through just through the visuals and what you're seeing and experiencing.
yeah. And speaking of that contrast too, is like the that like white supremacy group, they have this like underground tunnel thing underneath one of their houses. That's like at first you just think he's gonna like go into the basement, and then it's like, oh, okay, he's going through this weird door that's like painted like the wall. It's like clearly not a secret door, but it's supposed to look like it blends into the wall, I guess, a little bit. But then he once he opens that, he's actually in this like big, massive under. It kind of looks like a Fallout bunker type of thing.
Yeah.
Underground, white walled place with all these doors, and he goes to one door and opens it, and this is like a giant meeting room with huge painting on the wall over this conference table that he walks up to, but it's this massive, enormous amount of space
Yeah.
that they have this literal tunnel where there's like multiple rooms, huge rooms for them to all meet in. That's mostly empty, and then meanwhile there's the immigrants that are living in tiny little
Yeah.
spaces, and they have to traverse these tunnels to try to escape when they need
Hmm.
to and stuff. And so that contrast, it doesn't have to be like explicitly told to you in the movie, and they can just show things like that opulence and
Yeah.
immense, you know, excess, right?
Yeah.
Versus,
These are the people with the power. These are the people without the power.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and also an aspect of the movie is there's a decent amount of Spanish in the movie, especially
yeah,
in Bacton Cross, and Benicio speaks a lot of Spanish. But there, at least at our screening, there was no subtitles for any of the Spanish, which I which I didn't mind at all. I thought it kind of it didn't break the immersion of it. You know what I mean? I feel like subtitles would kind of maybe take you out of it a little bit. And it's kind of just like, well, if you don't speak Spanish, then you don't understand what they're saying, and that's fine. And if you pick it up from context clues, then you'll figure it out. And I didn't feel like I missed anything. So I,
yeah,
maybe there are details that Spanish speaking audiences would understand that we didn't understand necessarily. But I like that choice.
yeah. I agree. I think to me, I agree that it didn't really feel like I was missing anything. There were some moments where I actually picked up some of the Spanish.
Hmm,
That old high school
nice.
Spanish class really picked up.
When Leo speaks
Um,
Spanish, I understood that. His really broken, terrible uh,
yeah,
Spanish. Yeah,
yeah, that's right. That was funny when he's asking people. Um, but yeah, but I think that just doing it more authentically like that really pays off here. Where also
mm,
part of the message is kind of, or maybe not part of the message, but it all feels authentic, right?
yeah,
With the way it's all set up. So
yeah, and yeah. This movie honestly it's pretty hilarious.
yeah, it's so
Pretty
weird that
hilarious.
it can feel so like I'm saying it feels so authentic, but it also is goofy and weird and outlandish
Yeah,
and funny at the same time.
yeah,
And those feel like it shouldn't be able to do both at the same time.
yeah, yeah. It's a pretty cool balance, and I feel like PTA's recent movies have been pretty comedic. Even like Phantom Thread has like a weird dark like it doesn't it's not really comedic but it kind of is in a certain way um but yeah really since the master's not very funny yeah so I guess he made There Will Be Blood in the Master and he was like this is a lot of seriousness for me I need to do some more wackiness
Yeah.
but yeah a very enjoyable movie and it doesn't feel like a chore at all, even with the long run time and the big ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's another thing too. Like I feel like if you made this movie with a long run time and these big ideas, I mean like thinking of like something like The Brutalist, right? It's not like I disliked The Brutalist. I enjoyed it. Well, I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah.
But this is a much more enjoyable experience. It has big ideas and there's a lot going on, but it's because of that levity of humor and like just outlandishness and the fact that it doesn't feel like this world necessarily and it kind of feels like a tangent world.
Hmm.
um it really pays off in terms of not making this feel as long as it is.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it would have replay value. I could definitely
Yeah.
imagine rewatching this and really enjoying it.
Yeah. Also, it's funny because I don't know, 2 hours and 50 minutes is obviously not the same as the Brutalist being 3 hours and like
Right.
I think it's like
Three and a
20
half.
minutes after,
Yeah.
if you take out the intermission maybe or something.
Something like
But
that around there. Yeah.
still, I mean, I think getting towards that 3 hour range, I think, can be a barrier for a lot of people, and I think this movie doesn't feel like that. There needs to be that barrier,
Yeah.
right? Like
Definitely.
if you have the time for it, I feel like it feels like it'll go by.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I guess one shocking thing that happened was when Alana Haim got shot when she was at like the grocery store or whatever, wherever she was, and she just walked out the door and boom, got shot. That was also a shocking, like, oh shit, they're really cracking down, and if you get caught, you're fucked. You'll the government will kill you.
Yeah, and another way to set the stakes without necessarily having to tell us the stakes, right? Like
Mm,
it just shows us what is happening, right? I mean,
mm.
and it's interesting because some of them get arrested too, but some of them are just killed, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting because I guess the book came out in the 90s, maybe 1990, like Vineland. I think this is loosely based on the book, but I guess in the book the revolutionaries are from the 60s, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Where yeah, the government was killing allegedly, probably Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and probably JFK and RFK, in my opinion, and
I like
uh,
my opinion.
and Fred Hampton, was murdered by the police, and that was obviously just he was murdered, and they were cracking down on groups like the Black Panthers and stuff like that, and so maybe just transporting that to the 21st century, like it's like taking the 60s, everything that was going on in the 60s, and they kind of transport it to and it almost makes an alternate version of America, of 21st century America. So
Yeah.
maybe that's why it feels like it's not our reality, because I think it's the thing from the book is from the 60s, and it makes a lot more sense being the 60s.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's a cool. It feels like, yeah, maybe they just take that out of time and put it here, right? And
Yeah.
and that gives it this kind of timelessness feeling, right?
Yeah, exactly. It feels a little, yeah, out of place, out of time kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I don't know if we
Yeah.
got everything out. This is kind of a first reaction. We just saw the
Right.
movie. I'm sure on rewatches, maybe I will have more of an interpretation about why it's so horny. What's going on with Sean Penn being so horny? Um, maybe he's some kind of sexually frustrated guy
Oh my
or
gosh.
something
Yeah.
going on.
That's
And there's something going on with Leo being cucked and maybe impotent toward the end, something like this. I don't know if there's
interesting.
something going on.
Interesting.
I
I
don't
don't know. I'm sure you. Hey, I could believe it, man.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's
That's for another viewing, maybe.
yeah, exactly.
That's the thing.
But
I mean, I think this first viewing for me, I mean, like, I think there's some interesting stuff going on, sure, but like also a lot of this just came down to like this was a fun ride.
yeah.
It felt like a like well paced, a fun, exciting,
Yeah.
oddly toned but enjoyable experience.
Yeah. It almost I wonder if like Sinners is kind of a good comp for this year of a movie that has a lot of big ideas and also has some weird horniness to it.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
also it's just like a really entertaining movie.
Yeah.
And also there's like a well, never mind, I don't want to spoil Sinners.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Right.
just kind of an interesting comp.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything else we should talk about? Maybe thought the ending was really cool. I thought the nunnery was an interesting aspect of the movie, and
Yeah,
I really liked the chase at the end. I loved
the
the
chase was
little
awesome.
purple car he gets that he
Yeah,
steals. I loved that. Whatever that car was, I couldn't tell. It looked almost like a little like street racing like drift car, but it's also like the other two people in the chase are driving these muscle cars, and he's got this kind of like dinky. He's like, come go faster, you piece of shit! Like,
yeah.
I enjoyed that.
There was also the them Benicio del Toro getting him out of the so he gets arrested at that one point, and he's like at the hospital, and he's getting checked out at the like clinic maybe or something when he's arrested, and the doctor's like, do you have diabetes? And she's like nodding her head like
Yeah.
say yes, and
Well,
she says his name and he
she
didn't
calls him
tell
Bob.
right.
Instead,
He
he
said
said his name was at first he said Batman, then he said Peter Parker, then he said, "Oh, I'm Jim Parker." And
yeah.
yeah,
And so she says his name and says, "You have diabetes, right?" And is nodding her head, and then says, "Did you take your insulin today?" While shaking her head. So he follows along, and she says, "We have to send him to the ER." And then at the ER, somebody there unchains him and tells him how
yes.
to get away.
And Benicio is waiting for him
And
with a Modelo in hand.
yeah, and then they're drinking on the way,
Yeah,
and that was and then of course he gets pulled over for drunk driving.
yeah. And fucking Leo like takes a swig right when they drive past a cop car. That was just awesome.
So that
But
sequence, and then leading into the chasing. So Leo getting that car, and then chasing down to try to find Willa. All of that was just, I mean,
yeah,
phenomenal. I felt
yeah,
like just incredibly exciting,
yeah,
and when he's driving by, and then the white bounty hunter car drives past him, and then later on the blue car drives past him, where the Christmas religious
yeah.
weird guy, not religious, but
Oh,
like
yeah. The
sorry,
white supremacist.
white
Yeah,
supremacist.
yeah.
Um, I was thinking religion because of Christmas time. Like,
Yeah,
it's
say they
Saint Nick.
that's
So
what's weird. I kind of want to know more. Like, are they like some weird Saint Nick cult? Like, what is going on? It's very strange.
yeah.
But
But so
yes,
they drive by, and there was that really good moment of irony there of, and you could see that he's like looking in the mirror. He's like, should I turn around? Like, what's happening?
yeah.
And like, and
And by the end, like you really hate the villains and care for Leo and whatever Bob and Willa and their relationship you want. So, the movie is very funny, but also I really cared about the characters and I enjoyed the whole ride. So I feel like that uh, father daughter dynamic was such a core element to making the movie, making you care about the characters and what's gonna happen.
oh yeah. And then also Willa at the very end being very smart with the way that they're going over these hills, and so she parks the car, so just stops the
That was
car,
awesome.
and
Yeah.
then is ready to shoot. And
And
that was
they set
genius.
that up really well with
Yeah.
the shots from the car's perspective of the hills,
Hmm.
and there we see them going, and it's blind, you can't really see over the hill, and she uses that to her advantage. But it was very well done the way they set it up.
Definitely. And even with that setup, I was not even thinking of doing that.
Yeah,
So genius.
yeah, very very smart thing. I thought there was maybe one other thing I wanted to say, but now I've forgotten it.
Well, I'll
That's
say
okay.
I didn't. I'll say that when Sean Penn's character gets shot with a shotgun and in a big crash,
Yeah,
and then Leo sees him
he
and
pokes him.
pokes him with a gun
Yeah,
and tries to find Will after that. But then at the towards the very end, he's like walking down the road with his gun in hand, and he's bloodied in the face and all and whatever. And then there's a whole nother scene with him
yeah.
trying to get back into the Christmas adventure
With his
club
face
with his face
all fucked up.
reconstructed, I guess, right? And uh and then they kill him, right,
Yeah,
to finish cleaning stuff up. And and I don't not that I didn't like that, but I just felt like you could have just left him dead in the car. Probably would have been the
yeah.
same for me.
Yeah, it felt a little like an extra beat for not
Yeah,
really any reason. I guess just to show the face and maybe I haven't read the book, so maybe
yeah,
that's a factor. But I liked how like part of me wanted to know more about the details of the world of how all this works, but I liked like the scene you described of them giving him the nurse helping him escape.
right.
Like it implies, oh, this underground network is secretive and you don't know who could be helping or part of it or whatever. And toward the end, it's like we have this big apartment building and we can just put gas into your room and into your office and kill you, and two guys will come up and they'll just dispose of the body and burn you, and you it won't no one will know. That's how much power and secrecy we have.
Yeah, that's interesting. So again, with that contrast of the two groups, right? Like
Yeah,
the militant or the
the power and the powerless kind of.
right. Yeah, like they both have these same secrecy operating systems,
Mm,
yeah, that's really cool. I didn't even put together that connection there, but both those scenes do show that secrecy and
yes. One last thing I wanted to
yeah.
say was I really liked the interactions between Bob and Willa, like at their house, before they're on the run.
Yeah.
Like when that's when she's like, because it just tells you so much about each character and their relationship, and clearly there's like tension, but they care for each other, and like he clearly has it, like he's basically a drunk, high
He's not doing well.
ne'er do well kind of a,
Yeah.
literally. I love the parent teacher conference scene. That was so that was really funny. He smokes a bowl right, but literally right before he gets out, and I love the detail of like he opens the door and he like tries to fan it to get rid
Yeah.
of the smell, like get the smoke out of the car. Just the little like details like that are so funny. um but yeah, I just told you so much about their relationship, and it was like our quote at the beginning of the episode of him being like, "I know how to drink and drive."
Yeah.
Like it's funny, but also it tells you a lot about his character and and also I thought it was funny and it made sense the way he parents, where she's pissed off at him and she's like, I forget exactly what she says, but she's like, "You're fucking up. I don't want it." Blah blah blah, and she swears at him and is very frustrated with him, but also makes fair points. And
Yeah.
he is kind of like, okay, you're right. I am fucking up. Like, sorry, I shouldn't have. And I thought it was kind of just an interesting, like note to his character that he is a fuck up, but also he does genuinely care. And which makes sense for this being this, like, he's like this radical left wing guy, that he would be like more open to his, he's not like the authoritarian, like imagine Sean Penn
Right.
when he's interacting with her, if she says anything to him, he's very much like, you need to respect your parents, blah blah blah, like very authoritarian, you know, attitude toward things.
Right.
So I just like the way, I like the relationship. I thought it was really well done. That's all.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think you're right too to compare it to the moments when Sean Penn is interacting with her
Hmm.
and knows that he's her dad and is saying things like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the movie kind of nice thing reaffirms, like, even if your biological parents are scumbags, if you have, an adoptive father who's there for you and cares about you, loves you, is your real father, not just some biological person who
Yeah.
you came from, but is actually not your real father.
Right.
So that's
Definitely.
kind of a nice, also a nice message of the movie.
Yeah. 100%.
But yeah, all right.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's
I
a
think
lot of. Well, I mean, we talked a lot about the movie.
yeah,
It's really great. Obviously, I hope you guys agree, but we would love to hear what you do think. At this point, everyone
yeah,
here hopefully has seen the movie. Otherwise, you've had it all spoiled.
yeah.
What did you guys think? Did you guys have a lot of fun with it? Did you guys find the tonal shifts weird? Was anything off-putting to you because of that?
Hmm.
Um, were you too into the horniness at the beginning?
Weird. It was also weird horniness.
Yeah,
It wasn't normal
I hope you
horniness.
were into that.
It was strange levels of horniness. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So like, let us know what you guys think about this one. We're trying to get this out super early.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I mean, also let us know about that. Did you enjoy getting to hear our thoughts like right away?
Yeah.
This help you decide if you're gonna go see it with our spoiler free section? Um, that's some of what we're hoping to do here is let you know if it's worth seeing and
Yeah.
also
Definitely.
talk about it after.
Yeah. Definitely worth seeing. In theory, if you're listening now,
Right.
you've already seen the movie, hopefully. So hopefully you did. So yeah, I guess that's that for the episode. If you want to follow us, go to Mind Your Movies on all one word on Letterboxd. We've got, we're on YouTube. We got the podcast listening apps, so you can check us out there. Is there anything else we should say?
That's it. I think we've got,
All
you
right.
guys, yeah, from
Oh yeah,
Letterbox, you can find us everywhere else. We've got Instagram, we've got all those
yes.
other things.
And next week we've got a fun episode on cursed movie sets.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about The Omen and Burden of Dreams, which are two crazy movie sets with some crazy background story. I guess. Well, I guess Burden of Dreams is the documentary about the making of Fitzcarraldo. So yeah, subscribe if you want to hear us talk about that. And yeah, I guess we'll talk to you next week. Don't forget to mind your movies.